Hello, I'm Todd Edwards, Associate Legislative Director. House Bill 176 passed out of the House Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications Committee on Thursday. This is the cell tower bill from last year, of which ACCG was opposed and had many concerns. Over the interim, ACCG got together with friends from Verizon, AT&T, the Georgia Municipal Association, and a couple of other stakeholders to come up with a compromise language in this year's legislation. First, I'm going to tell you a couple of the provisions that are not included in the current version of House Bill 176. Last year had some provisions on what was meant by substantially changing the size, meaning that cell towers could incrementally increase in both height and width. That has been removed from the bill. Furthermore, they had shot clocks on last year's, which was 90 days for a co-location, 150 days for a new application, by which the local government either had to prove or somehow act on an application, and if they did not within that time frame, the application was automatically approved. That provision is no longer in the bill. Third, last year's legislation had a provision where local governments could not in any way regulate what type of equipment went on utility poles in the public right-of-way. That too has been removed from the bill. There's a couple other minor provisions that were, or major provisions, excuse me, that were in last year's legislation that are no longer included. So now I'll go over what is in the current version. Again, this is compromise language that ATT has agreed to be neutral on. First, a complete application is being defined as whatever is spelled out in the local government's rules or regulations beforehand. An application, once it is submitted, a local government has 30 days to deem whether or not it is complete, and if it is not, it can ask for that information from the wireless providers, but whatever is asked in addition to what was originally submitted had to have been originally spelled out in the local government rules and ordinances. Second, it puts in state statute a 150-day shot clock for approval or denial of applications for new cell towers. This is federal law already. We simply just put it into state statute. Already in statute is the 90-day shot clock for co-location applications. What we don't see, again, from last year is if the local government fails to act within that time frame, there is no automatic approval provision at the end. That has been removed. Third, local governments cannot require the removal of existing towers as a condition to approve an application unless that tower is both owned and abandoned by the wireless provider that is seeking permission or the application before you. Fourth, local governments cannot require that cell towers go on public property. Next, local government, there's several provisions that deal with local government application fees in terms of what you can charge a wireless company for reimbursement. You cannot no longer, or will no longer be able to charge a zoning, permitting, or other fee greater than the amount that it actually costs the local government to provide that service. In other words, you can't be using it as a revenue source to pad the general fund. Second, under application fees, we cannot charge zoning permit or other fees for co-location in excess of $500. That's the only limit in this bill, is you're not able to charge over $500 for a co-location application fee. Next, we cannot seek reimbursement from the applicant for any application fees based on a contingency fee arrangement with consultants. And last, we cannot charge a wire service provider or infrastructure provider any rental, license, or other fees in excess of fair market value on public property. Again, this bill is dramatically scaled back from last year's version. ACCG has agreed through a compromise to be neutral on this legislation. Our main concern is that the language stays as is, as House Bill 176 makes it through the legislative process. We have agreed to work with GMA and the wireless providers to help ensure so. Thank you very much.